Piacenti with Fantasy Alarm. Now, let's talk some DFS bargains for Week 7. The Dallas Cowboys defense is bad. How bad? Well, let me sum it up for you in one brutal stat. The Cowboys have allowed the fourth most points in the history of the NFL to their opponents over the first 6 games of the season. Enter your GPP tournament lotto ticket, Kyle Allen. Yeah, I know it's really gross, but Allen actually gave a decent fantasy performance last week with 2 touchdowns and 280 yards and 42 pass attempts. Seeing as how the Dallas secondary has allowed the 6th most points to wide receivers, this could be a sneaky good play to pair up with Terry McLaurin, who will likely also have low ownership and certainly looks like a good candidate for a big Sunday at the stadium. Kyle Allen is $6,700 on FanDuel and only $5,200 on DraftKings. And at running back, it's finally time for DeAndre Swift. Or at least we hope that last week's breakout game was enough to convince Matt Patricia it's time to look to the future. No offense to the great Adrian Peterson. Last week, Swift ran for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns on 14 carries. This week, Detroit faces Atlanta in what should be a favorable matchup. If Detroit can jump to a lead early as they did last week versus Jacksonville, look for them to slow down the tempo with the run game. Swift is only $6,100 this week on FanDuel and $5,400 on DraftKings. And don't forget about Justin Jackson. It's easy to, since last week he was on a bye. In his last outing versus New Orleans, Jackson had 94 total yards, and he saw the bulk of the workload over Joshua Kelly in Austin Eckler's absence. The Chargers have rushed for the 10th most yards in the league so far this year. And next up, they face a Jacksonville defense that has surrendered the 5th most fantasy points to the running back position so far in 2020. Jackson is $6,100 on FanDuel and only $4,900 on DraftKings. And at wide receiver, I have to attack the Houston-Green Bay game. Vegas expects this one to put a lot of points on the board, and well, so do I. Deshaun Watson seems to be getting his groove back, and Brandon Cooks is finally emerging as the threat we all hoped he would be. I think Green Bay will try to shut down Will Fuller, who's been the #1 all year for the Texans, and we could see Cooks have another breakaway game. Over the last 2 games, Cooks has seen 21 targets for 17 catches, 229 yards, and 2 scores. His salary is only $5,900 on FanDuel and $5,200 on DraftKings. Now, wrapping up with tight end, I'm going to go back to attack Dallas, whose defense has been highly suspect and who has given up the 9th most fantasy points this year to the tight end position. Logan Thomas is the play here. He's been the 7th most targeted tight end so far this season, and last week he finally found the end zone. I suspect Dallas could give him another shot this weekend. He's only $5,000 on FanDuel and $3,500 on DraftKings.